Greetings, my name is Abby Cosmos. Today we will be discussing the responsibilities of citizens during times of disaster. Some of the basic responsibilities of citizens during disasters include individual preparedness, protection of life and property, and getting involved in the community effort. The first part of being useful in any disaster situation is to be prepared. Citizens are responsible for their own disaster preparations. When thinking in terms of disaster, it is important to be familiar with where the evacuation routes are, as well as knowing the locations of local disaster shelters and hospitals. A big part of individual preparedness is understanding what the dangers are to a particular area or region. Each part of the country has its own set of disasters that they are prone to. Once an individual understands what the risks are, they can determine what supplies are needed for a disaster kit. Each household will have different needs, so it is best to personalize disaster kits and plans accordingly. According to Ready.gov, a disaster kit should include items such as non-perishable food like canned goods, water, clothes, blankets, flashlights and batteries, a hand crank radio, and a can opener. It is always a good practice to include at least 3 days worth of food and water for each person and a few days worth of medication for those that need it as well. Citizens need to ensure that they develop an individual plan for their household and make certain that everyone in the household understands what to do. The main thing for citizens to focus on for the duration of the disaster and immediately afterwards is the protection of life and property. Every person that can help themselves is one less that first responders have to get to. Once individuals have ensured the safety of themselves and those around them, it is important to help others nearby if at all possible. A great example of neighbors helping neighbors can be seen examining the public response to the Loma Prieta earthquake of 1989 in California. As you can see from the picture, everybody was pitching in. When a disaster strikes, it hits the entire community, not just a few families. It takes an entire community to recover from any disaster. Therefore, the responsibility of getting things back in order falls to those who live in the community. There are multiple organizations specifically dedicated to bringing the community together during times of disaster, whether it be a nonprofit organization or another group. A few examples of such groups include, but are not limited to, Community Emergency Response Teams, also known as CERT teams, who specialize in training citizens on what to do in times of a disaster, the American Red Cross, who specializes in providing relief in many forms to victims, usually through donations and volunteers, and Citizen Corps, who aims to get more people involved in the cause to protect America from all hazards. This concludes my presentation. Thank you for your time. Greetings.